English fairy tale Maribel and the Singing Shells. Maribel and the Singing Shells. Chapter 1. The Diver of Azure Bay. In the seaside village of Azure Bay, where the skies melted into the sea and the fish told jokes if you tickled their fins just right, lived a cheerful girl named Maribel Tidewell. Maribel was not only the youngest pearl diver in the village, she was also the most curious. While others dove for pearls to sell, Maribel collected shells that sounded like secrets. She often claimed they whispered songs from the deep. "Ridiculous," scoffed the older divers. But Maribel believed, especially in the legend of the singing shells. 6 mystical seashells said to awaken the voices of ancient sea spirits when brought together. One morning, as a storm cleared, a glimmering spiral shell washed up near Maribel's hut. When she held it to her ear, she didn't just hear the ocean. She heard laughter, and then softly, "Gather us, wake the tide." With her heart thudding like a sea drum, Maribel packed her satchel with flippers, salted crackers, and her great-uncle's compass that sometimes spun wildly even on land. She swam past the coral gardens, waved to the grumpy dolphins, and dove deep into the sapphire trench where light twisted and fish wore fancy mustaches. As she reached the edge of an underwater cave, something zipped by, leaving a trail of bubbles that spelled, "Hello." It was a creature unlike any she had seen, a sea griffin, part seahorse, part lionfish, with shimmering scales and fluttery fins. "Name's Pippin," it squeaked. "You're looking for the shells, aren't you?" Maribel blinked. "You can talk?" "I can sing, too," said Pippin, "but only in seahorse opera." Their next stop was the Bubble Forest, giant anemones that puffed like bellows, and jellyfish lanterns bobbing in time with the currents. There they met Boop, a rotund creature with panda spots, gills, and a habit of sneezing bubble hearts when excited. Boop floated by upside down, humming a tune. "You're cute," Maribel smiled. Boop burbled, "Thanks. I'm musical. Kinda. Want to hear my nose solo?" He sneezed. Ploop! And out popped a perfect note. Pippin clapped his fins. "You're hired!" Their team wasn't complete until they met Zeely, a glowfish with neon fins and sarcastic eyes. She lit up like a living disco ball and had a sharp tongue. "Looking for singing shells?" Zeely scoffed. "That's ancient nonsense. But I know where one is." "And you're coming with us?" asked Maribel. "Someone has to keep you from swimming into seaweed walls." Together, they swam past giggling octopi, sandcastles with flags, and old ruins covered in barnacle graffiti. To claim the second shell, they had to solve riddles from a floating squid librarian named Mr. Inkwell. He floated near the spiral library, where scrolls curled like cinnamon buns. He boomed, "Answer me these 3, or tickle my tentacles." What has no mouth but tells a tale? What always sings but never breathes? What lives in your head but swims with your heart? Maribel whispered, "Shell, song, dream." The squid gasped, "Brilliant!" He handed them a glowing conch. Chapter 6. The Whirlpool Waltz. The third shell lay in the center of a dancing whirlpool called the Melody. To get it, the team had to waltz, not swim, through the currents. Boop played rhythm by sneezing in time. Pippin led the dance. Maribel giggled while trying not to trip. With Zeely lighting the way in spiral patterns, they whirled to the center. There, in a bubble harp, floated the third singing shell, spinning and humming. Chapter 7. The Kraken Who Hated Noise. The fourth shell was guarded by a cranky tidal kraken named Grunkle. Grunkle lived in a shipwreck and wore a tea kettle as a hat. "No loudness allowed," he bellowed. "But we're musical," said Boop. Grunkle frowned. "Only if it's lullabies." So the group composed a soft sea lullaby. Pippin's hum, Boop's bubble bass, Zeely's glowing rhythm, and Maribel's whispered melody. Grunkle snored. They tiptoed past and retrieved the fourth shell. Chapter 8. The Coral Choir. The fifth shell was hidden in the throat of a coral giant named Melodia, asleep for centuries. "Only a harmony of hearts will awaken her," the coral crabs explained. So the team sang. Not with perfect notes, but with perfect friendship. Melodia stirred, sang a single deep tone, and gifted the fifth shell, gleaming with reef colors. Chapter 9. The Final Shell. The final shell could only be found where the sea forgets its name. It was a still place. No current, no waves. Only silence. There, Maribel realized the final shell wasn't hidden. It was them, all together. Their journey, their laughter, their courage. It was the final song. As they sang, the 6 shells glowed, lifted into the current, and spun a glowing web of sound across the ocean. Chapter 10. The Sea Rejoices. Azura Bay awoke to waves humming tunes. Fish danced in spirals. Coral glowed in rhythm. Maribel and her friends were hailed as keepers of the sea's song. She opened a small school by the shore, teaching others how to listen to shells, to friends, to their own brave voices. And if you walk near Azura Bay on a quiet morning, you might hear a sneeze bubble note and the sea giggling with joy. The end.